Senator Jillian van Turnhout. You have 5 minutes, Senator.
Thank you very much, and hopefully I won't use all of my time. I just firstly want to agree with what my colleagues have said, so I won't repeat, in particular, obviously, my colleague, Senator Mary Ann O'Brien. I think it is very important that we instill confidence and trust, and also that there is an ease of access to information, and Senator Quinn gave us some examples from the US. I'd like to pick up a point that Senator Mary Ann O'Brien raised in regard to the use of SORP and compliance, and I would certainly agree, and the proposal that all salaries above 75,000 be declared. I think we've had a huge focus on chief executives, and I've seen organisations finding a way to skew this by employing their chief executive part-time, but having other officials within an organisation at much higher salaries on a full-time basis. So I suppose I would just add to what Senator Mary Ann O'Brien said and propose that we would know all salaries above 75,000, but when I talk about salaries, I talk about the remuneration package. So I talk about their salary, any health insurance benefits, pension benefits, anything extra like cars that aren't in the normal cut and trust. And I'd also like to know, how much time is that person giving to that job? Is it a 100% job? Is it a 50% job? Because then we should know pro rata-wise what their salary is, because I have no doubt, and we've seen organisations before different committees that have only worked part-time for a public service and part-time for a private service, and yet seem to be able to get multiple times what we would call a salary for that work that they are doing. I think for me also, Minister, I would like to raise, I have a concern that has been worrying me slightly of the use of the term charity, and it's been used quite a lot and quite widely and broadly. And I have a concern, actually my real concern is about the use of public money and how the state is funding organisations. And whether somebody sets themselves up as a private company or they set it up as a charity, I want to know that that public money is going to good use, and I want the same scrutiny to be given to them. And I don't want a public company to hide behind company law and say, but hold on, we're a public company, we do not need to declare this to you. So I do have a concern about this, and I have a concern, Minister, in particular, where the state is funding some services 100%, 90% of the service. Is there a question that the state should actually be running the service rather than it being called a charity? And I think there is a historical legacy for us here, because we have organisations who started out of really good purposes, traditionally religious organisations providing services, mainly in the medical field for us, and have now professionalised. They're running organisations with multi-million budgets. But still, if you question their work, they rely on that historical legacy to get them out of trouble. And I have a huge issue with that, because for me it's the same yardstick whatever you're providing. And I think there is an issue for the state that it is funding some organisations year on year. Historically, they get 2% up on last year, 5% down this year. It's just up or down with the normal trend. All organisations are dealt with the same measure. And I think there is an issue about no tenders being put out, no responsibility on the state to say, this is what we are expecting for this money, for this service, and let organisations come in and bid for those services. I think for me there is a big issue. You know, the new Child and Family Agency, Minister, did you know it's going to fund 700 organisations? I still don't know who all the organisations are. So I think we have a responsibility here, and we have chances in which to change it. And the final point I would like to mention is about the regulator and board. And I know, Minister, you're moving as quickly as you can on those issues. And I do think it needs to be resourced necessarily. But it also needs to be given the armoury and the teeth that if it does have a concern, that it can address it. Because for me, we've seen before committees, we've seen in the media, statements that I have sat down with, I have read them again and again, and I've tried to understand, well, what are they actually telling you? It's like a secret code. You have to parse the words, and I still don't quite know, am I understanding what they're telling us, or are they actually telling us the truth? And what we will see when the regulator comes in, there will be the organisations who will rush to compliance, but I'm worried about the organisations who think that they will swing around to compliancy or use such terms. And they're the ones that we need to ensure that if the regulator isn't getting the information that they need, will we be able to back them up? So, as I said, I totally agree with my colleagues. I just wanted to add those few comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator van Turnhout.